So I wanted to say that I started the manifestation from the initial stages. And I found, like Carol says, there are times that it is challenging. There are times when things just come in your way. But with that forum that we have, it keeps you focused. You have to be intentional with whatever it is that you're doing and you want. And you have to embody what it is that you want. Not just having it as a visual thought, I want this or I want that, but to really be intentional with it, like I said, and also to gratitude. Gratitude is important. Okay, so when things start to go haywire, when you sit down and think about all the good things that have happened to you, and we have to remember that we've had more good than bad. Okay, but we seem to focus so much on the negative until we forget the things that were good. I think it's a good place to be, and for us to realize that we're not going to be perfect. Okay, there are times that we're going to have those challenges. There are times when we're maybe not going to do the fast as long as we wanted to do it, but we have to give ourselves some grace and to move on. And once we do it and we're in that community where we have that support, I think it's a good thing to do. So thank you, Diane, and all.
So thank you for that share, Chrislyn, because it goes back to consistency. Okay, it's what we do consistently, and Olga just talked about it, is what brings about significant change. So all the little things add up. So even though we had those three little pillars there, yes, our subconscious mind is going to try to resist. So when we feel the resistance, we know something is working. It is working. Okay, until the body says, ah, that's what you want me to do. Okay, that's how you want me to talk. That's how you want me to walk. Okay, when you embody whatever you want to your presence. So my thing is abundance, and it's abundance, not just money abundance. I take that, but it's to have the abundance of great relationships here, to have the abundance of health, because without health, wealth is not going to do you anything. So to really have a spiritual awareness, to bring about strength in my spiritual growth. So all of that is what I want for abundance. I want to be wrapped in that abundance. Okay. So Olga, I think Olga, did you drop the link in the chat? I think you did. And we're gonna have some more shares about okay, great. So that's our share. And everyone, when we send out the replay, you're gonna get a copy of our workbook. It's detailed. Okay. So with that being said, I would love to introduce my dear friend and travel buddy, Chrislyn Benjamin. Chrislyn and I, we've been journeying for a while. It's been, I gotta be about 5 years. We shared 3 number 1 bestsellers. One with Les Brown's, and I think I have it down somewhere. I think the Next Level You. I forgot the name of it, but Next Level You. But yes, so I'm excited to have Kristen share, and she chose to share about her chapter from our latest and number 1 bestseller with Dr. Forbes Riley and Les Brown. She's going to talk a little bit more of her chapter. And our book do exist. This is not a fake. It's not fake. It does exist. And so Kristen is from the HR background, but she wanted to share about how let me just get it right, this park that became Hawaii. And I'm so excited to introduce my sister for all the way from the Bahamas to share with you today. So Chrislyn, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Diane. And I just wanted to say that initially I called Diane to say I had a cold and I don't think I should share, but here I am. So my voice may be a little scratchy, but I'm going to try and do my best. I'm going to see if I can share my PowerPoint slide. You know what? I won't waste any time. I saw a message. So, yes, the spark within. Okay. So, I want to welcome all of you here today. And I want you to take a moment to think about that moment in your life that you didn't see something that was coming, a moment that changed everything. I want you to slowly close your eyes and I want you to think about that moment. And you can begin to open your eyes and type a word in the chat that describes that moment. Okay, I see freedom, exciting, peace. I see 2% said peace, pain, okay, silence. So I want you to hold on to that word as I go through my story. Hold on to that word. So it was a Tuesday morning when I got a call from an unfamiliar number. I knew that I had a meeting to attend. And so I said, well, I don't know that number. I'm not going to answer. And then I got another call again, and then I answered. There was a male voice on the other end, and he said that I needed to come to the police traffic station. I told him that I had a meeting to attend and I have to go to that meeting. So he says, no, miss, you need to come. So I said to him that I will ask my brother to come. So he specifically said that it's you that I want to come. And so I hung up. And then there was a lady who came on. And she says, ma'am, you have to come yourself. And somehow, I don't want to seem like I'm sexist, but somehow the voice of that woman who said, ma'am, you have to come yourself, that made a difference. So I said, I will. So I hung up and I got on the phone and I called my boss and said, you know what, I can't come because I got a call from the police traffic station saying that I must come down there. So I did. I went there. The brother who I had asked to come to the police station, I got there before him. So the police asked me to wait out front. And he said, you know what? You might as well wait here until your brother comes. So I did. But you know, during that time that I was waiting, there was something that shifted within me. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what to expect. And then my brother came. They took us into another room where the inspector came and sat down. At that moment, the room felt like it was closing in. And then he said, he didn't make it. I took a deep breath. And then I realized that was my youngest brother, the spark within the family, the storyteller, the encourager. I couldn't believe he was gone. I didn't cry. I didn't collapse. At that moment, I thought that I was the strong one. because my brother, who was there with me, he was like in shock. But everyone who knows me know that on the surface, I appear to be the strong one. So I kept up that strong facade. And then I realized the impact of what he said was real. He's gone. And at that moment, I didn't know how to react. And I realized grief doesn't always come with tears. Sometimes it comes with numbness. I became numb. I was pretending that everything is all right. For weeks, I moved as a shadow, functional, present, but deep down inside, it was hollow. And I realized my brother, who was my sounding board for dreams that were bigger than my courage. He always said to me, "You can do it." That really, really moved me when I think about his words, "You can do it." I have experienced challenges before with health challenges, and there were challenges whereby I had lost control of my right side, and at that time I was in college, but I was resilient. I taught myself at that point to learn how to use my left hand. And if I would have listened to the diagnosis from the doctors, it seemed like doom and gloom. I would be on medication for life. I won't be able to drive. And it almost just took away everything that I had hoped for at that point. They tried to shrink my dreams, but I refused to allow that to happen. At night, I would climb out of my bed, still thinking of my brother. Nights I lay in my bed asking the question, why? Why is it happening to me? Why are you taking away my sounding board? Why are you taking away my encourager? I ask all those questions. Of course, I got no answer. And that happened for a number of nights, a number of weeks. And then I heard a murmur, a whisper. Nothing that was loud, but there was something deep down within me, in my spirit, that says, Chris, you can do it. You can live your purpose. And in that whisper in my spirit, it didn't erase the pain, but something powerful reminded me that his belief in me didn't die. It lives in me. And it taught me something profound. Your why is not discovered when things are going good. Your why is discovered in your struggle, in your pain. And I realized that I overcame a struggle before. I was resilient then, and I can be resilient now. because every struggle becomes dark. And I want to ask you all, many of you have had a whisper. Put a Y in the chat if you've experienced that. Not so much the verbal voice, but that whisper, or that's something that deep down in your spirit that urges you to move on. Okay, I see Dr. Manera.
My mic is so scratchy, I can barely hear. Go back with the question,
Okay,
Chrislyn.
the question was, how many of you have experienced that? Put a Y in the chat. If you have experienced hearing that murmur or that whisper telling you to move on, or giving you that encouragement. That reminded me that it did not erase the pain that I was feeling, but something powerful reminded me that his belief in me didn't die. It lives in me. Something profound. And like I said earlier, your why is discovered during those painful times. And every struggle becomes your spark. And how did I overcome that? I took small steps. I began writing. I shared my story, not confidently, but in a vulnerable way. At times reluctantly, but quietly. And what I found is that people began to lean in and they said, me too. I discovered Sonda. And Sonda is the realization that every person you meet has their own trials, their own difficulties. An example of that will be in a busy airport. You see people rushing around, milling around. We don't know what they're going through. They may be like I was, pretending that everything was fine, but deep down there was that void. My purpose was not to be strong. My purpose is to be real, being upfront, telling the truth about my light and darkness. And by doing that, I connected with so many other persons who were experiencing grief, loss in some way. And that created a connection, a bond, a community for me to share and for others also to share their pain. What I found that it refined me. You know what it did? Stripped me of the noise that is all around me. All the things that get in your way, you face that reality, that let that go. Surrender. Surrender all of the things that are hurting you. Surrender them and leave them there. And it showed me who I was becoming. It gave me that strength. the fortitude to want to go on and to live my life truly with purpose, even though I have faced challenges. And so that was the creation of the REACT framework, which is a framework that I use to get over or to help me deal with grief and loss. And it is reflection, honoring our past without shame. That is the time that we pause to look at the things that have happened to us and what we can do to make things different. Engagement. When you think of engagement, that is reconnecting to your voice, reaching out to others. You know, because sometimes we put ourselves we're not open. And if we don't reach out to others, we won't realize how they're feeling. And we won't realize how, once we share, how that can help each other. Action. Taking small steps with compassion and purpose. Yes, with compassion and purpose. And to be intentional with those steps. Clarity. Understanding your path. After you've gone through reflection, engagement, action, you are at a point now where you can understand your path. Not only your path, the path of others as well. Because when we connect the word sonder with this framework, we are looking at how other people are feeling. It's not only about us. We don't live in a vacuum. It's about others as well. Transformation. Transformation is not just personal, okay? It's like the impact that we have on other people. And that is what truly makes a difference, our impact on others. What would it make? It won't make sense living in a world where we just think about ourselves. It's all about me, me, me. We need others. People need people. And if we are kind and considerate to other people, that will make a difference. I want now to share with you my tribute to my brother, who always encouraged me to climb higher, who always told me I can make it. So I'm going to read that poem, The Spark Within. I stood in silence, shattered and still, a heart half broken, a soul to rebuild. The world has shifted, the light grew dim, and yet I heard the echo of him. You can do it, soft as breath, a whisper rising from beneath death. Not gone, just changed. His voice, my flame, a spark that called me back by name. I walk through ashes, slow and bare, each step a prayer, each breath a dare, to rise again, to speak, to feel, to turn my pain into something real. Now I carry what he gave to me, a torch of truth, a legacy, not just to live, but to ignite, to help the hidden find their light. So if you're reading Lost or Alone, unsure where your life may go, know this: your spark is not erased. It waits in silence to be embraced. Let grief be sacred. Let hope begin. And listen for the spark within. Thank you for allowing me to share my poem as a tribute to my brother. Now, I want to speak directly to you. Maybe you've lost someone. Maybe you've lost yourself. Maybe you thought you were strong all alone and that you don't even remember what it feels like to breathe. A reminder: your why is not gone. It may be quiet, it may be buried, but it is alive. I want you to ponder on a couple of few questions, and for you to ask yourself, who has been a spark in your life? Someone who believed in you when you didn't believe in yourself. Think about that for a moment. And if any of you want to share of someone that who's been a spark in your life, you're free to share.
iPhone is Jean, and she said, "What a great tribute to your brother." I think Queenie has her hand up. Queenie, got a question? Queenie Star. And if you guys can come on camera, that would be awesome. And we want to get everyone, we want to take a screenshot. So we would like as many people to come on camera as possible, and so that Olga could take her famous screenshot of our meeting. So Queenie, you got a question? Your
Good
hand
morning.
is up.
Good morning. I'm sorry I can't be on camera yet. I'll be on later. Um, it's so good to see everybody's faces. I will be on camera eventually soon. Um, it's not a question. It's like a little. It's an answer to what Chrislyn posts or ask question. Um, she she said when you've had all these losses, who's been that spark that believe in you and as most of the people here knows me and knows my story, I've had so much losses in the past uh, couple of years, unbelievable loss in my life. And I just like to say my answer to that question is when all of those things was happening and actually happened, it was the people here in this community um, been the biggest spark in my life. Like there's not one, there's not two, there's there's like so many of you who became my sister, my friend, and really been a big part of my life. And so to me, that is personal, and that is I'm speaking from my heart. That is the answer to the question, Christine, and I think this is a good opportunity for me to let everyone here knows that. And second, um, it really touches me. I mean, I'm sorry I was late, so I missed a lot, but soon as I got on, just only been 4 minutes of listening to Christine, what got me is when you say our purpose is not to be strong, but to be real. That really strikes me because all my life, that's what I thought, I gotta be strong, and show up strong all the time, like as best as I can, you know. And yes, I do show up real, authentic, with my heart and everything, but there's this one part of me sometimes that, it's hard for me to be vulnerable and you know, cry and show that, okay, this is too much or too hard, or sometimes that you just feel like I cannot handle this anymore, I can't do that anymore. And that's part of being real. So not like, I don't think there's any human being in this world who could be strong all the time. We have our moments that we do break, and that is, when you said that, that's like, I never thought about it, that way. So I really, really appreciate that so much, Chrislyn. Thank you.
Thank you, Queenie, for sharing.
So thank you, Queenie. Then we have Star, and then no, before we go to Star, we got a lot of people on camera. So, Olga, are you ready? Are you all ready for this photo shoot? You ready?
Yes, I am.
There goes my friend Carrie Lily.
Okay, 1, 2. Any more people are coming on camera?
Okay, my glasses off.
Yes, yes, yes. Some people are coming on camera. Yes, yes, yes. 1, 2. Smile. One more.
One more, one more.
One more. 1, 2. Hearts, smiles, whatever. Gestures. Yes. Done.
Thank you, Olga.
Perfect.
So I saw Star had her hand up, and then we're gonna go in because time is clicking, right? Goes by so fast. And I know we want to share a little bit about what we do at our retreat. So Star, you have a question? You had your hand up. Or a statement, comment.
So I just wanted to thank you so much for your sharing. And it did take me back to when I lost my son. When I got the news, I just went numb. I mean, I haven't written about it. I haven't really been able to even access that whole thing that happened. Because I had my divorce the same time. I threw my husband out. So I lost both of my guys like at the same time, my two closest men in my life. And so I've just been trying to recover from that. But I just admire you so much that you were able to not only access all of the whole experience, but to write about it so vividly and great. So thank you. I just wanted to say that. And the community that I have set up, I'm really thanking God because I have an amazing support system. And you asked, who's that person? It was my sister, my little sister that actually left Washington because of all the craziness here and moved to Idaho with her family. And she said, I'm coming. And I'm like, no, because I really didn't want to be around anybody. And she's like, I'm just gonna be in the other room. You have a big house. I can go downstairs. And she just kind of pushed herself on me and came out. And I had no idea how much I was gonna need her. Because it's weird that you talked about that. Because this morning I woke up thinking about the PowerPoint slideshow that I obsessed on putting together for his memorial service. And I haven't watched that since the service. And but I woke up thinking about him this morning. My son, Shane Benjamin, he overdosed at 40 years old. They found him in his apartment, deceased, in Everett, Washington, which is one of the #1 drug places in the United States. But when they found him, his arms were like, he was on the ground like he was praying on his knees, and his arms were up like this, like he was receiving God, or was taking him into his hands. And he just died that fast, where his arms were actually still up like that. And I'm glad that the guy, when I went to clean out his apartment with my sister, I said, I want to talk to the person who found him. And he was able to share that experience. Like he goes, I thought he was praying or something. It was so crazy, but the foil was still in his hands from the drugs. He died that fast. But I really haven't been able to. I mean, I go to a grief group, but it's still really hard for me to even talk about it. So I really appreciated your story. Thank you.
Thank you, staff, for sharing. And that's how after Diane asked me to do a chapter, I said, well, I don't know what to write. The only thing I could do was write about my brother. And then my husband saw it and he says, oh, I'm so happy you had the opportunity, because you were just holding everything in. So yes, so we do need to share, because there are lots of people who have experiencing it.
Just wanted to say for a second, sorry, Diane, that in our first book, Ascend Your Path, Hortensia is actually sharing a story about losing her daughter. And guys, when I was editing these chapters, when I was helping with all that stuff, I was crying like crazy reading all your chapters, Hortensia's, Chrislyn's, and many, many more. And it does help to get it out. It does. And first it helps you, and then it helps others to actually do the same.
What a great share. So again, thank you, Chrislyn, for putting your story, because you were like, oh, I don't know what to put in this book. And you said, oh, this is what came to me. And it's because you were holding it in. And this was the perfect time to share your chapter with us. Okay, so Star, I'm so sorry for your loss, Star. I wasn't aware that you lost your son. So I'm so sorry. I know how dear he was to your heart, and you would say you would always go looking, trying to see where he were and whatnot. But I'm so sorry for your loss. Gee. So we have Maria. Maria got her hand up, and then we're gonna go to Jean, and then we're gonna continue on. Maria.
Thank you, Diane, for calling me up. Chrislyn, just wanted to say how sorry I am for your loss of your brother. That was obviously a very big loss for you, but I'm so proud of how you carried forward. And my aunt is going through a lot of depression right now because she lost her husband almost 4 years ago now, and she just can't move on. And it's like I try to help her as much as I can, but she's so sad, and it just breaks my heart. She doesn't have any kids. We're the closest family she has. And it just really, your talk really moved me so much today. And you talk about being real, and I'm always that one who has to try to be the strong one. But, a lot of the things that you said today make me think about what things I can say to her to hopefully make her move forward and feel like she has still something to live for, because she doesn't feel like she does. She so often tells myself, my mother, I don't have any reason to be here anymore. And it just, like I said, really breaks my heart. And, like I said, they didn't have any kids, so her husband was her life. And she's just like, more than half of her is gone, and she just doesn't see a reason to live anymore. So thank you for sharing your story. And, as so many of you have said, it's important for everybody to share these stories so they can see there is a path forward. And it's important to keep moving forward, even at tough times, because times do get tough, to keep trying to step forward, even if it's a small step. So thank you for sharing your story today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. We're gonna go to Jean. Hi, Jean.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I just want to make a short comment. I'm not going to be long. When my oldest son was a baby, he was one of those kids that every illness passed by, he got it. He catch everything that went by. And, I was a single mother, made a mistake as a young girl. And I was 19 going on 20, and the father wasn't helping, so I was alone, working for $10 a week in 1974. He was very, very sick. I was at my lowest at that time. You know, I'm young, I don't know what to do. And when Chrislyn talks about angels coming and you don't even know, an angel came to me as a stranger. And this is a man that I used to work at a hotel as a receptionist. And I went into the kitchen and I was crying, telling the ladies about my son, and I don't know where he's gonna go because he's coming out of the hospital. I have nobody to keep him, and I don't know what to do. And I started crying. And this guy, he used to come there for food for his dogs. And every time he come there, he would tease me, and I couldn't take it. I didn't like him. I hated this man. Every time I see him, he would be teasing me, and I was so thin-skinned at the time. And he came in the kitchen and he saw me crying. And there's so much compassion on his face. He asked me what happened. It was an older guy. And I told him, and he said, you know what? Bring your son. My wife is going to take care of him. And I couldn't breathe because I was out to this man that teases me every day and I didn't like. I hated him. He became an angel. Those people took care of my son until he was ready to go to high school. They took him in for the whole week and I took him on the weekends. This boy had to go to the doctor every other week. $5 out of my pay went to the doctor every other week because of how he used to get sick. And I was so grateful to that man and to his family. So grateful. And I'm telling you, angels come in all forms and you don't even know where a door is going to be opened. You think all doors are closed. That's all I have to say.
But
Thank
thank you,
you.
Jean. Thank you, Jean.
Okay. So it was difficult writing that. And so I do understand how you feel. But I am happy and I encourage all of you to share your story. Okay. So in closing, I rose not because I was strong, but because I was willing to heal. And that's important. We have to heal. I rose, but not for me alone, but for every soul who needed to hear that rising is still possible. And I rise today because of a whisper that still guides me. You can do it. I did, and you can do it too. Your spark is not gone. It is waiting. All you have to do is listen for it. Thank you. I will share my information. It was actually on the PowerPoint presentation, but I'll send it to Diane Mulder. And feel free if any of you want to talk with me. We're here, like Olga and Diane said, it is a community, and we are always saying open to help others. It's not about ourselves, it's to make this world a better place. And the way we can do it is to share with others and to listen. Thank you.